One serious hazard continues to show up at metal recycling facilities: pressurized cylinders. Improper handling can release toxic gases or cause explosions. It happens all too often, damaging property and injuring workers. ISRI, the Institute of Scrap Recycling Industries, and CI, the Chlorine Institute, wants you to be aware of this hazard and know the proper way to respond when you find an orphan cylinder or ton container. Stop, look, think, and call. An unidentified cylinder is one that arrives at a recycling facility or scrapyard without identification or sufficient paperwork to explain what it contains or whether it is under pressure. Before scrapping or disposing an orphan cylinder, stop. Metal cylinders and ton containers contain pressurized gases and liquids used for everything from outdoor grilling to purifying drinking water to providing oxygen to medical patients. Many of the gases stored and shipped in cylinders can be health hazards, for example, toxic or carcinogenic, or physical hazards, for example, explosive or combustible. By carelessly knocking off a valve or cutting into a cylinder or container, scrap and recycling employees can release gases that quickly react with the lungs, eyes, nose, and throat, making vision and breathing difficult and even causing irreversible harm or death. In other instances, improper handling can cause an explosion or propel a heavy cylinder into people or other hazardous materials. Respect the cylinder. Cylinders should only be scrapped if they arrive at a recycling facility with the valve removed and a large hole in the cylinder body to indicate the cylinder is empty. If there is still a valve in place and there is no large hole cut into the cylinder body, do not remove the valve and do not cut into the cylinder. Set the cylinder aside for trained personnel to safely remove from your facility. Cylinders come in many shapes, colors, and sizes, ranging from small bottles to large ton containers. The color of a cylinder doesn't matter. There is no standard for the color coding of cylinders based on contents. Common cylinders include propane tanks and typical high-pressure cylinders, such as acetylene and oxygen. Containers may contain toxic gases or liquids, such as chlorine. So the next step is to look for valves, vent holes, damage, markings, or labels. Ton containers can be identified by looking at the ends for the fuse plugs. Cylinders typically have stamped markings, indicating manufacturing design and certification dates. Additionally, they may be marked with the filling locations or list the owner. These markings may be helpful in identifying the contents and determining if specially trained professionals are needed to safely dispose of the cylinder. Note: outside markings may not be correct. That's why those cylinders or ton containers should not be processed. Stopping and looking are crucial steps, but now it is time to think. When handling potentially hazardous cylinders, those that appear intact, still have valves, or show excessive wear, always take the following safety precautions. Assume the cylinder contains material that is hazardous. Assume the cylinder is holding pressure. Secure cylinder in a safe area, isolated from other employees, customers, and visitors. Keep vehicular traffic and falling objects out of the area where the cylinder is located. Remove any combustible materials in the area where the cylinder is located. When feasible, store cylinder outdoors under shelter. Never open or remove valve. Do not attempt to process the cylinder. Contact a reputable emergency response contractor. If leaking, contact the local fire department immediately. When it comes to unidentified cylinders and containers, what you don't know can hurt you and other folks too. Stop, look, think, and call. If the cylinder is leaking, contact the local fire department immediately. If the cylinder or ton container still has a valve and there's no hole indicating its contents have been drained, contact a reputable emergency response contractor trained to safely dispose of cylinders. If the cylinder contains chlorine, shown by the words chlorine or UN1017 marked on the cylinder, the Chlorine Institute can provide assistance up to and including removal and proper recovery or disposal of the vessel and its contents for the continental United States and Canada. For assistance, call Chemtrek 800-424-9300 Or in Canada, contact Canutech 613-996-6666. For help identifying a cylinder's contents by its markings, such as the hazardous material UN number, contact the Hazardous Materials Information Center at 1-800-467-4922. Safely disposing of unidentified cylinders can be confusing and at times dangerous. That's why ISRI and CI want scrap metal and recycling facilities to please call before lighting a torch, swinging a hammer, or levering a crowbar.